Hi, my name is Bob Porri, and I'm a guitar teacher. I'm going to cover a lot of things that I would cover with somebody in their first lesson. So we're going to get started. So this is assuming that somebody has no experience playing guitar whatsoever. So I'm going to just kind of go through things that the way I do them as far as holding the pick and some left hand positioning things and exercises to work on for a first lesson type thing. All right, so when you hold the guitar, well, first of all, let me show you one of these guys. Any kind of rubber non-slip mat kind of thing that they use for, sometimes they use them for jar openers, sometimes they use them to keep things from slipping on countertops and everything. If you put one of these on your left leg when you're holding a guitar, and if you put the guitar in the middle of your legs like this, not off to the side. If you go off to the side like this, it's really not a great playing position. I mean, you can play like this, but a better positioning of the guitar. I mean, notice when I hold the guitar like this, the neck is either level or pointing down often. And what you want the neck to be pointing up a little bit. Another example I usually give is if you put a strap on a guitar and you stand with the guitar hangs about like this. And then if you sit down, the guitar ends up in the middle of the legs like this. One of these things on the left leg serves as just keeps it from slipping. So it's a little tip for that stuff. As far as holding the pick, and then again about the neck, you want the neck to be angled up like this. I guess that's about 20 degrees or so, but not level and not down. Again, this playing position kind of helps with that too. As far as holding the pick, the way I hold the pick, and there's a lot of variations of this, basically you hold it between the thumb and index fingers. So the thumb is, I'm trying to show this as best I can, the thumb is angled across the pick like that. Yes, you can see that. Let me do a zoom and try to do this. So the thumb is angled across the pick that way, not straight towards the tip, but angled like that on the side of the pick a little bit. Sorry about the angle on this. Then the index finger is on the other side, and the index finger does point towards the tip of the pick, and the thumb is sort of angled to the side a little bit. It's kind of very difficult to show this, but all right, so something like this. Some people hold the pick this way with the index finger really on the side like that. I don't like that myself. I like the index finger pointing towards the tip of the pick and the thumb angled sideways like that. Also, the third finger, I usually can feel the side of the pick just a little bit with the third finger as a support. So when I hit the strings, there's a little bit of the third finger kind of just supports the pick a little bit also. So that's how I hold the pick. Also, another thing is you don't want to be far back on the pick like this. You want to choke up on it and only have maybe like 3/16 of an inch or so of the pick tip sticking out from the index finger and the thumb. Okay, hopefully you could see those a little bit. And when we hit the strings with the pick, the pick is not straight on the strings, is not perpendicular to the strings like this, because what happens is it kind of catches on the strings if you do it that way. The pick is actually tilted a little bit one way or the other. So in other words, either tilted this way a little bit or this way a little bit. It's very hard to show the pick, but you can see that better. So in other words, you're not straight on with the pick like this. I'm holding in the wrong hand, of course, here. But you're not straight on with the pick. You're either tilted a little bit that way or a little bit that way. Again, like I said, the 20-degree thing about the guitar neck, picks maybe about 20 degrees also. So when I play, I think in terms of, the way I do it is I tilt the thumb down towards the bridge. So if this is the bridge here, so the pick is tilted down to the lower part of the bridge, the way I hold it. A lot of good players tilt the pick this way. I just find that awkward myself, but it's up to you. Get your right angle. But you don't want to be straight on with the pick, because if you are, the pick kind of catches on the strings, and it's hard to be even with your notes as you're playing them. So by tilting a little bit, the pick sort of glides over the strings better. It'll glide that way, and it'll also glide, if you hold it in the same angle, it'll also glide that way. So we get that. It's a good idea when you start playing to use all down picks just at the beginning, just to get a feel for picking the strings. But we will be picking down and up eventually. Yeah. Okay. A lot of times chords will be started off with somebody's first lesson, and depending how somebody's doing, I might do that also. But I do like to show a basic positioning exercise. So what we're doing is we're putting the thumb straight up and down on the neck like this. You can see it better from behind like this. So the thumb is behind the neck like this, not angled like this. And what you'll find if you test this out yourself, if you put the thumb in the wrong position and then you lay your fingers on the frets, you should find out that you don't have much of a reach from your first finger to your fourth finger. Whereas when the thumb is straight up and down on the neck like this, tends to be, the stretch between the index finger and the fourth finger tends to be an extra, at least extra fret or two. I can get an extra 2 or 3 frets out of it depending where on the fretboard I am. So anyway, so the thumb is in straight up and down like that, and oftentimes during lessons students will the thumb will be like this, and I'll just say thumb, and then they have to put it back in the position. So depending what position on the guitar you're going to be in, will determine where the thumb is and where the first finger is. We want to be at the higher part of whatever your fret you're playing. So for instance, if I was going to play the first fret, I would not be down in this part of the fret. I would be in the upper part of the fret. And another thing I try to get across in lessons at the very beginning is when we talk about higher or go up on the neck is determined by pitch. So when I go this way on the neck, that's up. Even though the direction in space is down, I'm going up. So if somebody's here on the 5th fret and I say go up to the next fret, I don't mean go up in space. I mean to go up in pitch that way. So always talking about pitch when I'm talking about higher string or higher in the neck, higher on the neck or like that. So same thing happens with the strings. If you're playing, for instance, the first string, well, you can only go to the next lower string. So again, going lower is going this way, even though in space I'm going up. Down in space is this way, but it's opposite as far as strings are set up, because the strings go from the low end down this side. The highest in space, the string that's highest in space is the lowest sounding string, and the highest sounding string is the lowest in space. So it's always by pitch. So if I say go to the next higher string, I'm talking about that way. If I say go to lower strings, I'm talking about going that way. That's just something to keep in mind. All right, so for this exercise, I started to say you wanted to play high in the fret as opposed to low in the fret. If you play low in the fret this way, you'll get a buzz. if you don't press down really hard. If you go up in the fret to the higher area of the fret, you don't have to press down as hard. Another point is to always try to be on your fingertips when you're playing either melody notes or leads or general single note type things. There is a case where we use bars and we are on the side of the finger, but in general, when you're first learning how to play, we're trying to get on the fingertips to play. And again, notice the thumb is straight up and down in the back, or I try to keep it that way. About midway on the neck, in other words, not way up like that, not way down, almost under the neck, but just kind of about midway on the neck. And then you may vary that a little bit depending what string you're on or what position you're in or whatever. And again, I don't believe in being like totally 100% strict about that. If somebody's uncomfortable in some way and needs to have the thumb off center a little bit and needs to be a little bit off to the side, then that's just the way it is. You know, you have to kind of use common sense when you're working on these things. You don't want to cause any kind of injury because you're forcing something or maybe it's too early for you to try something a certain way. But in general, try to be straight up and down with the thumb and high in the fret on the fingertip as opposed to on the finger pad. So we want to be on the tip of the finger as opposed to the pad of the finger. You want to be on the extreme tip. That means curling the fingers too. You don't want the fingers straightened out like that. You want a nice curl on them. Okay, as far as an exercise to work on for this, if we started this exercise in the first fret, there's kind of a fairly good sized stretch you have to make. I like showing this exercise either in the 5th fret, and if somebody's having trouble with that, I'll go up to the 10th fret, but we'll go with the 5th fret for now. So we're going to put the first finger, so the thumb's in the back straight, and the thumb is about behind where the first and second finger will be, kind of in the middle of the two fingers. That's where the thumb is. In other words, it's not down below the index finger, and it's not way up here where the second or third finger would be. It's naturally, when you place it down, it kind of falls about behind where the first finger is, or a little bit towards the second, kind of in the middle. And again, straight up and down. So if we aim high in the fret, on the 5th fret, and we depress the string with the fingertip, and we curl our fingers, and we're going to pick that note with a down pick, like that. Again, the pick is angled slightly one way or the other. So we get that. Move over a bit here. Okay, so 5th fret is there. Once you play that note, you're going to put down the second finger and play the 6th fret with the second finger. And again, on the fingertip, curled and high in the fret. So we get that sound now. Notice that I kept the first finger down when I did this. So I played the first finger, then you play the second finger, both on the first string. The first string is the thinnest string. Then we're going to put down the third finger, and again we try to get high in the fret and curled. Again, things may get a little bit tough depending on your the exact shape and size of your hands and everything. So again, we make common sense accommodations in any way we can, but we're aiming towards the upper part of the fret. So we're aiming up here rather than down here. And now we have all 3 fingers down. I mean, it would be easy to do if you just did that, but we want to try to keep all the fingers down for this exercise. There's a reason for that too. Then after you play that note at the 7th fret with the 3rd finger, and then we're gonna play the 8th fret with the 4th finger. Okay, so altogether we had this, and again the higher part of the fret for that 4th finger. So we have this. And again, notice that whole time the thumb is basically straight up and down in the back of the neck. Once we get up to the 4th finger, and we've played all 4 of those notes, let's see, on the 8th fret right now, we're going to lift that finger slightly, lift the 4th finger slightly, and play the 7th fret with the 3rd finger. Then you're going to lift that finger slightly and play the 6th fret with the 2nd finger. and then lift that finger slightly and play the first finger on the 5th fret. When we go up, the position you're looking at for your hand is generally the first finger tilts in a little bit towards the center, the pinky tilts in a little bit towards the center, and the 2 middle fingers, the 2nd and 3rd finger, index finger is 1st finger, middle finger is 2nd finger, ring finger is 3rd finger, and your pinky is the 4th finger. But so the 2nd and 3rd finger are basically kind of straight when you make it to this position. The 1st finger tilts in, the 4th finger tilts in. So we're looking for that position, and the thumb's in the back. And that's what we're trying to attain when we do this exercise. We're trying to keep the thumb in the back in a good position, go up, stay high in the frets, and then when you get all 4 fingers down, you want to be in this position close to this. And then when we lift them off, we lift off one at a time. When we lift them off, we don't go far away from the guitar. We just try to lift them off about a 1/2 inch or so, or an inch, and you get down to there. So the exercise is this: 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, and then you play the 8th fret again and work your way back. So 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th fret, 8th fret, 7th fret, 6th fret, 5th fret. Fingers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. So once you get the idea of doing that exercise, and if you're just starting out, I would only practice this. It's like a warm-up thing you would do, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes or something like that. And to make it less boring, you can go to different positions. So if I'm starting with the 1st finger at the 5th fret, that would be called the 5th position. So once you go up and down with that, you can shift up to the 6th position, for instance. And when I did that, the thumb came right along for the ride, just like that. All right? And when you go up higher, the thumb's going to keep going right with everything. So you get something like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can work our way back down. That's 7th position and 6th position and 5th position. And again, this is just a good warm-up exercise to learn how to coordinate your right and left hands and keep your hands in a decent position. We can also do this exercise, again, it just kind of makes it more interesting and a little bit of fun. Go up on one position and then shift there. And again, when I shifted, the thumb went with everything. And then come down on the next position. Then shift again, the whole hand. And then shift again. All right, so we're going from the 5th fret, then up a position. Up another position to go to ascend, and then up another position to go down. And same thing coming down. Just change positions depending whether you're ascending or descending. So you get something like that. If I kept going further, what you'll find is as you get down towards the 4th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 1st fret, there's a much bigger stretch you have to make from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fret position compared to the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th fret position. And if you just go up to the 10th fret for a second, by the way, the dots on the guitar are typically, not always, but typically they're 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th frets. So they're kind of like just landmarks for you. And then the double dot is at the 12th fret. The double dot is the octave of the open string. If you were on a like do in a scale, it would be do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. The higher do would be the upper note here, and the lower do would be the open string. But if you went to the 10th position, you'll find that the frets are pretty close together. And it's really pretty easy to get to that position where the 1st finger and 4th finger are tilting in a little bit, and the 2 middle fingers, the 2nd and 3rd finger, are fairly straight this way. All right, and this one kind of tilts in and this one kind of tilts in that way. All right, but again, the higher you are in the neck, within reason, it's easier to get to that position. So that's why for this exercise, I would stay between the 5th and 10th, maybe 12th fret the most, depending on your guitar. If you have a cutaway or whatever, the cutaways help you get a little bit higher in the positioning. And again, as much as possible, keep your thumb straight in the back like this. All right. So sometimes, depending how things go with a first lesson, that might be somebody's assignment for the first week, is just to get used to holding the guitar and positioning the right hand and the left hand, and going up the neck with that exercise, that warm-up exercise, and practicing maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe a couple times a day, something like that for the first week. I'm going to do another segment of this talking about some chords that I would use if I was going to go into chords with somebody on a first lesson. So that's it for some basic positioning and how to hold the guitar, and I hope that benefits some of you. Thank you.